Well, I don't think anyone feels very optimistic at the moment. They don't feel optimistic about the politics. They don't feel optimistic about what's going on with the climate. So you'd be fairly unusual if you suddenly said everything's getting better. Although the odd thing is, in many ways, everything is getting better in terms of social indicators, health, education, and so on. So I think when you plan, you tend to reflect the zeitgeist, and the zeitgeist is quite negative. But also one of the things I'm arguing for is that you're planning to be able to respond to shocks and crises as windows of opportunity. So that's neither optimistic or pessimistic. When a financial crash happens, that may be a trigger for some good policy developments. So in that sense, a slightly false distinction. It's more about being able to spot those critical moments and respond to them. Well, one big shock for the UK aid sector could be if the consensus around 0.7 breaks down. So the level of aid is currently fixed in law at 0.7% of gross national income, but a government can overthrow that law. Should that happen, that could lead to a very precipitate fall in aid. Within the current rules, there's quite a lot of flex for aid to be diverted onto other issues which are less relevant to poor people. So there's a gradual problem and a potential shock problem. Obviously, the ability of the aid sector to respond to massive shocks externally. So, a huge no-deal Brexit caused financial crisis, or a new global crisis, like 2008. All these things, the aid sector will be deeply affected by. I think the big question for me is, how do you plan for uncertainty? How do you plan in the knowledge that you don't know what's going to happen? It's crazy to keep trying to predict the future and plan for it. That way you're constantly blindsided by history and events. So we have to have a different way of thinking about the future, which is about being comfortable, embracing uncertainty and thinking, so how do we arrange ourselves to be better at uncertainty, which means getting better at spotting new things, getting better at reacting to opportunities or threats, thinking on our feet, being more entrepreneurial, being more risk-taking, and finding a way to take the donors, who are absolutely crucial in all this, taking them with us. In many cases, people in the donors are already up for this kind of approach. So we need to build a movement within the aid sector that understands and wants to work in uncertainty.